We are halfway to the weekend and another round of Premier League fixtures, and we are looking forward with a bit of tips to the fantasy football, as always, with the guys. Jack and James from Snap Media are joining us on the Lime Green sofa. Come on, Jack. Hello, mate. How are we doing? How are we doing? We've met. How are we? How are we? You? Oh, lads, it's not too bad, the colour-coded outfits today. It's only waist down. It's only waist down today, but the shoes and jeans are awfully similar. But we're getting there. We're getting there. One day, you'll be truly original. Another exciting week of Premier League action. That's a given nowadays, isn't it? How did you boys get on?
I'll let JJ take on.
We looked into results because, my team didn't do very well.
No,
mine did, coincidentally. Didn't they, Jay?
We're not talking results, but my fantasy team did OK. I've had better weeks, to be fair, but that's probably because I had Payet in my team and Zaza.
He was just played out of the game. They just played out of the game. My fantastic defence.
West Ham players.
For people that haven't seen you two on this show together before, I should explain that they are a Southampton and West Ham fan. I'll let you guess at home which one's which, and obviously they played each other on Sunday, so we are actually going to talk specifically about that game a bit later on with you. But for now, lads, come on, let's focus on fantasy football.
Okay.
Here we go. By the way, Norwich have equalised as well against Newcastle. Huge goal in the Championship. Norwich have equalised away at Newcastle. Let's start off with a review of, it was game week 6 in the fantasy football last week. Here is a review of, I think, the top scorers from the weekend that's just gone by. There's always some interesting names when you do this, I think. Here we go. Adam Lallana, what you've called Heung-min Song. You've not remotely got his name close to being spelt correctly there, lads.
I don't know what's going on there.
That's a crossbreed of Alex Song and Heung-min, I think. That's what's happening. And Alexis Sanchez. But we know who you mean. We know who you mean. So let's go through it. I mean, bored of talking about Adam Lallana so far this season. He's just been superb, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. And I think that's partly down to Klopp. But, I mean, just the positions he's getting himself into at the moment is fantastic. And that's 2 assists and 1 goal in 1 game week. And at only 7.2 million as well. So,
yeah, and he played 70 minutes as well.
Yeah, 70 minutes.
It's a scary thought, isn't it?
It's proper school in that, isn't it? He got brought up right.
That's fantasy football at your best.
That's gold, isn't it? That's gold. And this man, and this one hurts because I was so thinking of putting him in because I was like, Kane's out. I reckon he'll play every week. And then your Snap Media experts on the show, like this time last week, go to me, yeah, but he might rotate Son, but Vincent Janssen's guaranteed to start. So I was like, oh yeah, he's got a point there. Well, I wanted to put him in, scored twice.
That wasn't me. I wasn't here.
No, you weren't here. You weren't here. You weren't here.
That might have been me, actually.
Yeah, I think it was. I
think we did say that Son is your wild card almost. He's like a differential. He'd performed well in the first few games. I think he performed really, really, really against Sunderland, which I said really, really impressed with him against them. So
yeah,
and I really felt as if there was some points in him. Didn't expect him to turn up with a couple of goals against Middlesbrough, but.
Yeah, 5 and 5 for him now. I think if he wasn't in people's teams this week, he's got every chance of sneaking in a few. And he's a sort of player, 5.5 million there. He's going to free up funds as well, isn't he? And if he's going to play every week and score goals, he could be one of those.
That price will rise, though.
That price will rise. That's the thing. Yeah. What a season this man's having, Alexis Sanchez. Few times last season where he was in and out of injury, a few question marks about him, but we're seeing him back to his best now. When he's this good, there's no stopping him. He's assisted both the Walcott goals tonight as well.
Well, he'll carry on going then, won't he? I think they've got Burnley at the weekend, so he's one to keep in if you've got him in already. He's one to bring in if you haven't. And yeah, he's leading the line at the moment, which means player of his talent. I think he's more dangerous on the wing, personally. But I think leading the line, he's bound to, the way Arsenal play, he's bound to pick up points.
Do you think maybe that's the key? I think you could be right, that tactically for Arsenal, ultimately getting back out on the left and get Perez or another striker in the middle. But for fantasy football, the fact that he's leading the line for Arsenal could be huge for the next few weeks. Yeah. I think he's going to get those sort of numbers. The goals and assist numbers are going to probably be higher than they've ever been before.
And especially, I can't be certain, but I'd imagine he's listed as a midfielder on fantasy football.
Yeah.
He is. So that's a bonus. You've got a midfielder playing as a striker.
And it's always something to look out for. You can still keep your Agueros and your Ibrahimovic in the team as well. Yeah. Although again, that price, if he keeps up this form, is it's
going to rocket.
It's going to rocket as well. So those are 3 names. Son maybe less so, but 3 names that this season have all been performing brilliantly, and we've expected them to do well. You've got some surprise picks for us as well from the last weekend, which are massive. Michael Keane, Ryan Bertrand and James Milner. Let's start with Michael Keane. A lot of transfer interest in him over the summer. He stayed and he scored as well. Scored his first Premier League goal.
Yeah, I think with where Keane's concerned...
The Watford fans are booing Michael Keane.
They're not happy.
Michael Keane's goal on Monday night. They're still not over it.
I can't believe I've got Watford fans in front of me. I've got Southampton fan next to me.
Your last two results.
Just give me a break, please.
There's an Astra fan somewhere.
Where Keane's involved, he's playing for what everyone thought would be the Premier League whipping boys this year, so that would reflect in his price, but also just everyone thinks that Burnley are going to concede goals every week. So far, they've proved that's not going to be the case. And he's also proved in himself that he's an attacking threat at set pieces. So this week, no one expects him to go and beat Watford. And a fantastic header. So yeah, and he got his 14 points, which is probably the best points he'll get all season. But definitely a surprise.
When you play Watford, there's always half a chance. Ryan, don't know what I'm doing.
Keep them coming.
I don't know what I'm doing. They've got to come and join me on the sofa a bit later on. Ryan Bertrand, well, I mean, back in the team, there'll be a few fantasy football managers who are gutted about this because Matthew Targett was playing, but Bertrand's back now. He's going to play every week for Southampton now. He's back, isn't he?
He's going to play. Yeah, you don't really want to talk about this one, do you?
You could take Ryan Bertrand as the Saints fan on the sofa.
Yeah, he's going to be for the big games, especially. I mean, Puel's rotated a fair bit because we've had a busy couple of weeks. We've got some more busy weeks coming up. Still being in the League Cup and everything. So yes, but he will play the big ones and he'll probably play most Premier League games as well.
Yeah.
So and he'll get you points because he's someone that loves to get forward. He's got a great cross on him. Proved that against what is arguably one of the weakest defences in the Premier League at the weekend, but still proved it. Yeah, so he's going to get you points.
Ryan Bertrand has been a class act for years, hasn't he? Now,
yeah, he's brilliant.
He's a brilliant player, and also Southampton, amazing. No matter how much you take players out of that team, they keep clean sheets. They're always going to be solid defence.
Yeah, we've got a very good defence.
Having conceded in 4 now as well.
Van Dijk holds it all together. He's brilliant. We've got European champion next to him.
Yeah.
And then Bertrand and Cedric.
Yeah.
Both solid as well.
That's European champion.
Yeah. Well, you still bang on about winning the World Cup. That was 50 years ago. Ours was 3 months ago.
Oh, I love getting these two on. They're my favourite couple. They always bicker. Surprise pick. So, I mean, James Milner, 6.5 million, 2 goals. Obviously, he got 2 penalties, which you can't expect to happen every week.
No.
But I saw a statistic somewhere. No player, and you figure the attacking talent in that Liverpool team at the moment, no player has been involved in more goals, assists and scored in the last 12 months than James Milner has for Liverpool. He has gone straight into my fantasy football team.
He just goes unnoticed, doesn't he? He's that sort of player.
And I think one thing you've got to think of, he's playing wing back at the moment for Liverpool, and he's still. I know he's taking penalties, but he's still making a difference. And the fact he's involved in so many goals as well, he's going to get assists or he's going to get goals. And at £6.5 million as well. Those that didn't have him in his team last week would have been kicking themselves.
I mean, those stats that I said, though, about his involvement in goals will have been mainly from maybe on the right wing or even centre-mid last season for Liverpool. It looks now like he's going to be at left-back for the rest of the season, really. Yep. I can't see him being dislodged. Do you think he can still get as many involved in as much from left-back?
I think the way the form they're in lends to it, the way that Klopp likes to play, quite high intensity, the sort of counter press of getting as many involved as possible. I think maybe less so than last season, obviously, because he has pushed back a little bit, but I think he'll still be involved quite a lot. There'll be a lot of bonus points up for grabs as well.
There were heads in hands for lots of fantasy football players, tears, myself included, when Kevin De Bruyne, it was announced he's injured. A massive blow. I mean, what a start to the season he's having, and he must have been in pretty much everyone's team by last week.
Yeah, I don't know what his percentage was in terms of ownership, but he would have been high up there.
He's just got better and better, hasn't he? Every week.
He's been superb under. I think Pep Guardiola's
taken him to a new level. We talked about his numbers and the key numbers for fantasy football, goals and assists, and he's probably the best in the world right now for that, apart from the crazy numbers you get in La Liga sometimes. Yeah. You've suggested a couple of replacements. This is going to be very useful because everybody right now, the big question is, who the hell do I bring in instead of Kevin De Bruyne? So the good thing is, you can go for class because you're taking De Bruyne out, so you can bring in a class player in response. Let's go through him. Raheem Sterling, he's scored 1 at both ends tonight in the Champions League, but I mean, unstoppable at the minute.
Yeah, he's just had a complete resurgence under Guardiola, hasn't he? And I think with them playing so well, losing De Bruyne is going to be a blow in that side, but they're going to carry on with the momentum. And like you said, Sterling scored twice tonight. He's in great form, and he's still cheaper than De Bruyne, so they've still got a bit of money to play with.
Does the fixture at the weekend come into your mind? Tottenham away?
It does. They've got a strong defence, but I think Pep would have planned for that. And I still think they'll nick past Tottenham.
I mean, how much do you got to think about the weekend coming up and long term as well? Because you could bring Sterling in now, but he's going to play for. We think De Bruyne's out for about a month. So the Tottenham game aside, you got to look at the fixtures beyond.
I think they've got Everton and then Saints.
Yeah.
So I mean, Everton easy 3 points with that awful manager they've got at the helm. And then you'll just have to take a hit on points with Sterling when they play Southampton. So.
So biased.
You've got to be confident.
Mesut Ozil, class act Mesut Ozil as well, isn't he? I mean, if you're going for like in terms of calibre of player, then De Bruyne, Ozil, very similar.
Yeah, he's class act. But I'm pretty sure earlier on I read a stat that he's yet to assist this season.
Yeah, he hasn't got an assist.
Which is worrying for fantasy Premier League players, but I'm sure that won't be done before he starts getting amongst it all.
And the goal against Chelsea, he's got a new contract coming up.
Yeah.
They'll both be big boosts. He's stealing Jack Wilshere's shirt number. He's banged on about having the number 10 for years, so that'll all give him a nice little rise. And he's very much a player that once he gets in a vein of form, he runs with it. So
that's the thing as well. I mean, it's where you've got to look for themes. Ozil hasn't assisted yet in the Premier League, like you say, but class is permanent. It's only a matter of time. It's not like he's playing badly. You can guarantee by the end of the season those numbers will even themselves out, won't they?
And they've got, I don't want to be harsh, but they've got an easy ride against Burnley. So you'd expect him to be involved and pick up a few points.
He's not going to do an Etienne Capoue and score all his goals in the first 4 weeks of the season, is he?
And then drop off like the
rest of the team. Yeah. Sadio Mane as well. He's in my team just because I've got to have as many Liverpool players as I can possibly squeeze in. But what a season he's having as well.
Yeah, this is the guy that I'm going to use to replace De Bruyne, I think, under Klopp. And I feared he'd be a bit of a flop at Liverpool. But his price tag was a little bit too high, given that he was only at Southampton.
Bless him, he's got to get a dig in somewhere.
I just think that, I know Liverpool always buy Southampton players, but I just thought he was one that in terms of the price tag, he's not going to do it. But so far he's proved to be wrong, and I think he's cheap at £9 million. Bring him in.
That fixture as well, Swansea away, a lot of trouble at Swansea at the moment. It's a good time to play them if you're Liverpool, isn't it?
That's it.
I also think the thing with Mane is he's part of such an exciting attacking quartet now. There's so much fluid. He's always going to find space. He's so quick as well. I think I think a lot of people will be going down the Mane route to replace De Bruyne this season. But those are two other very good options as well. Sterling and Mesut Ozil. Obviously, Raheem Sterling's never coming anywhere near my fantasy football team. We don't like Raheem Sterling, us Liverpool fans. Let's move on to the differentials. So these are kind of some obvious class acts there, but for the many ways, the people that decide a season, these differentials. Slimani, we've talked about him already on this show, but still only 1.7% have selected him, which is...
That's surprising. That'll probably go up over the next 48 hours or so before the deadline, but the way over the last 2-3 weeks, he's really turned it on for Leicester. He turned it on last week in the game week in the Premier League. A winner in the Champions League for Leicester. Turns as if it looks as if he's now the spearhead of Leicester.
I think that it will be part of the reasoning for the 1.7% is whether he was definitely going to lead the line every week. But now it seems he must do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That will go up. I reckon by the deadline that will probably be about 5 or 6% probably.
Yeah.
As a guess, but still at 8.4 million, you're still getting a really cheap striker there.
Yeah.
Someone that, if he's going to start every week, he's got a chance of scoring because we know that, we've seen it.
Yeah.
So worth looking at him.
Yeah, worth a punt. This man, I've got him in. Huge player. What a performance at the weekend. Charlie Austin got the headlines, but how good was Dusan?
He was unbelievable. He is, I think, my favourite Saints player at the moment. Just the passion he shows when he plays and everything, which is one side. But the point side of it, the statistical side of it, like Ozil, he's very much a player that when he gets in a vein of form, you can't stop him. He loves picking up assists, which, he'll get to a game, he'll get a goal. He'll absolutely mug off a terrible goalkeeper as and when he can. He's and only 2.5%
I mean,
as well.
that's the one for me, 2.5%, because I've had him in from the first game of the season, because I thought last season he was brilliant. And I was like, I love Tadic, I'll get him in. And his point scoring, 26 points, still only 2.5%. Do you think he goes under the radar a bit?
He does, yeah. I think
I'm actually kind of annoyed that you're showing everybody my plan.
I think just because, especially the way we seem to go into every season of, oh, they're not going to do it this year, you know, they sell players, it's the same record over and over again of they sell, and they keep there. I think people tend to steer clear of us in the early weeks, especially. So maybe now we've got a few wins under our belt. That might go up.
Yeah, I think maybe with the new
know.
manager coming in, people weren't sure what Southampton was going to turn up this season as well. Should have never doubted you. Doubted you. By the way, a huge goal has gone in Europe. Celtic are 3-2 up against Manchester City. What a game. What a game. Apparently straight from kick-off in the second half as well. Moussa Dembele got his second of the game there, by the way. Let's move on to this man. He's had a great start to the season as well. And again, 0.3%.
That's a staggering one.
That is staggering for the start he's had to the season. Stephen Defoe, 30 points.
A lot of people might go, oh, just because he got 2 assists against Watford, stick him in there. But he's got 30 points. Apart from those points he got from them, he's got 30 points still. We're coming into the 7th week now and he's got 30 points. That says a lot about the player that he is. And at 0.3%, if you're in a league with your mates, no one's going to have him.
Is it fantasy football snobbery because he plays for Burnley? Is that why he's only in 0.3% of the teams?
I would say so, yeah.
Definitely.
As I said earlier, a lot of people will see them as the whipping boys of the Premier League this year. They've already proved within 6 weeks that they're not going to be the Premier League whipping boys. So to pick up the likes of your Michael Keanes or your Defoes, get them in there. They're going to get you points.
Looking ahead to the weekend, is Stephen Defoe, you're thinking more of a long-term solution? Obviously, this weekend, Arsenal at home is going to be a tough game, but still very cheap, 6 million. You think if you keep him in for the remaining 30-odd games of the season, he's going to be a good player for you?
Yeah, it's I mean, Arsenal, they do look strong. They're a side that you never really know what could happen. You know, Burnley could nick a win, but I highly doubt it. But yeah, it's more of a long-term one to think about, to have maybe as that cheaper option that just opens up a few more alleyways in other areas of your team.
If you want your De Bruyne's, you've got to have your Defoes.
Yeah. He's the player you have on your bench and you rotate your team. If you've got a good bench that you can rotate every week, then you're going to have a good chance of having good fun.
Let's move on to the other thing that you guys run, Stat Media guys, FanDuel. We have got your Ultimate 11, I believe. Is this for the week just gone or the week
just gone, yeah.
Week just gone. So this is last week's. So again, I know we explain it every week, but if you're just joining us and you're not aware what FanDuel is, it's very more detailed the way the scoring is done. It's based on tackling, passing, every involvement of the game, which is why these points will be alien to some people who do normal fantasy football. But talk us through it there. I mean, they all just had a brilliant weekend, really, didn't they? We've seen Son in there. We've talked about a lot of players. We've talked about Milner, Defoe's in there as well. There's not too many surprises. This man, Jermaine Defoe, got 2 at the weekend as well. I mean, he does brilliantly, doesn't he, with the service he's getting at Sunderland.
Yeah, and the team he's in, he's going to be a cheaper option. So it's always good to look out for players like that. And I think with FanDuel, I think we do, like you say, we say it every week, the beauty of it is that in like a normal fantasy football team of the week, you're never going to have 2 Middlesbrough players at the back. Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
And I think it gives you that sort of upper edge in terms of canny picks in FanDuel as to where you can get your points and where you can win your money.
And you've got a Burnley goalkeeper in there as well. OK, they kept a clean sheet as well, but like you say, it's the defence that get worked a lot more are going to get you more points in FanDuel, which is why Daley Blind, the exception, obviously just had a good game, basically, didn't he? Basically just had a good game. And we have your free matches to watch as well for this weekend for FanDuel. So talk us through these choices as your main free.
OK, well, Everton v Palace, it's your Friday night. I mean, with FanDuel, you can join a certain amount of leagues that either cover just Saturday or just Sunday or the full weekend. You can pick players from teams that are playing across the whole weekend. So it's always worth perhaps looking at the Everton-Palace game because it's a Friday night game.
Yeah.
Everton have been fantastic, apart from last weekend when they slipped up against Bournemouth. They're at home, and they've been very strong at home this week.
Yeah.
And you've got a number of players in that Everton team that will pick up points. You can pick up points through shots on target, successful passes, chances created, blocked shots, things like that. Yeah. So you're going to get a lot of, with Everton anyway, a lot of high-scoring players. And Palace as well. I mean, Palace aren't a bad side.
We were talking about the matches to watch this weekend if you're playing FanDuel. Talked about Everton Palace, Tottenham Man City as well. Massive game for both teams on Sunday.
Yeah, I think they're both on fire so far this season. And as has been proven tonight, Man City still, they look brilliant, but they are still leaking goals. 3 against any Brendan Rodgers size is quite embarrassing.
It's true.
So, yeah, I think that'll be one that you can pick a lot of points up, especially with your players going forward, but it might be one to keep away from with defenders.
Yeah, I can't see it being a 0-0 really. Although Tottenham are brilliant at the back, so they could turn it into that kind of game. Leicester versus Southampton as well. Difficult one. We were discussing it briefly in the break. I mean, they both play in midweek. What do you make of that game?
Yeah, like I said in the break, it's going to be a tough one for Saints because obviously Leicester played in the Champions League on Tuesday, but they played at home. We've flown to Israel today, play tomorrow, and then up to Leicester on Sunday, which you don't like to use Europa League as an excuse, blah, 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 so I won't. But,
yeah, in a very roundabout way there, you definitely just have, yeah, exactly.
But I think, you know, as long as we carry on the rotating as we have, we should be all right. But it should be an interesting game. Leicester are a hard team to call this season, so are we. But there should be goals. I
do think that's got potential to be a very good, two very good teams, really, Leicester, Southampton. I think that will be a very good game. We will now move on. I can tell you, by the way, as well, Paris Saint-Germain have gone 3-1 up, so Ludogorets are really going to regret missing that penalty. And also, Napoli are 4-0 up in their game as well. 4-0 at home. So we have a video from when you were on last week and you had predictions about what the scores were going to be at the weekend. Should we have a look? Should we have a look?
I can just watch and laugh.
Here we go.
Southampton score going to be, even with all your injuries?
I'll go for a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw.
Yeah.
And Reading tomorrow?
I think 1-0 Reading. John Swift, stunner, 90th minute.
Stunner?
40-yarder.
Well, like 50
I can see it.
50
I can see it now.
Well, delusional like you.
Well, one of you was very good of his prediction. It was 1-0 to Reading against Huddersfield. I was at the game. We hung on a bit, but we won't talk about that. It wasn't a Swift screamer, but we won 1-0. That's all that matters. You predicted 1-1 in the West Ham at home to Southampton game. Now, you've got your friend next to you, your Southampton fan next to you. What do you want to say to him? What did you make of the game?
Well, I was there, unlike plastic fan. Sorry.
What were you doing instead? Why weren't you at West Ham, Southampton?
I was visiting friends.
Oh, here we go, here we go.
For a birthday.
Oh, God, here we go, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah, but... I mean,
too scared of the West Ham violent fans.
They only beat themselves up. You don't need to worry.
For the record, I know you guys have seen it, but for the record, against Southampton, they finally sorted it out. They've got no problem at the stadium now. Well,
Not
for
on the
now,
pitch,
anyway.
Didn't sort that
On the
out,
pitch, at the other end, I mean, at 1-0, when Southampton went 1-0 up, I mean, before they went 1-0 up, it was pretty, like, cancelling each other out. And I thought, you know what, I'll take a point here. I did think of our 1-0 prediction. I thought, you know what, we'll have a point here. And then Southampton pop up and your boy Charlie Austin, the one that David Sullivan, our owner, turned around about 18 months ago and said, we're not going to sign him because he's got no knees. And then 18 months later, he pops up and puts Southampton 1-0 up against us. And then the second half, I was quite confident that we'd come out and really go for it. I don't know what Bilic said in the changing room, but it didn't work because then Southampton come out and absolutely smashed us. And his face literally just came straight in my vision in the second half, and I was like, I'm just not looking forward to going work on Monday. Yeah, gutting, but I'm sure we'll turn it around.
But you do seem confident that you're going to turn it around. Massive game, because Middlesbrough at home is almost the more important thing about this game on the weekend, is it not?
It's terrifying thing at home, isn't it?
Do you just need to get a couple of wins under your belt at home, and then you can just put those questions to bed?
Yeah, I think any normal season, you're playing any team at home and you think you can beat them. But at the moment, we're not even confident home or away. I mean, we went to West Brom a couple of weeks ago and got smashed by them 4-2. Something's gone wrong somewhere, but I'm confident we'll sort it out. And we need a break. If it's a 1-0 win, with like I did against Acton, 96th minute winner from a Payet free kick. We need that in the Premier League for 3 points. And I think once we get that win under our belt, that will give the players that extra boost to go for it.
Because it's very much the same team that did so well last season in many ways. So can you put your finger on what it is?
It's so difficult. It's so difficult. I mean, I know people that who've been in the club, and apparently Bilic has still got the players back in. The new signings, they, according to Bilic, have settled in quite well. I mean, on the pitch, there's a couple that haven't really performed that well, but it really is difficult to put our finger on it. I know the stadium doesn't help. It's a new stadium, new environment for the players, new environment for the fans. But you can't blame the stadium on losing 5 of your first 6 games.
Especially when you've been struggling away from home as well, like you said.
That's it. But we'll turn it around. I mean, we're West Ham. We always do something. We'll be fine.
Apart from that time you got relegated like 2 years ago.
5 years ago. Give us some credit, mate. Come on.
Yeah, 5 years ago, I'll give you that. Southampton, this will be a slightly more cheery conversation.
It will, it'll be lovely. Hey, great.
Can I go now? Is that right?
Yeah, you can go. I mean, 4 wins in a row, haven't conceded a goal in those 4 games. The one loss was a tough one to take against Arsenal. Yeah. Southampton, I mean, I've got to say, every single season you go, plucky little Southampton. But they've lost more players. Mane's gone to Liverpool. They're really going to miss him. Then you come back next season, it's just as you were. You lost your manager this season. Can you put your finger on what it is about Southampton?
We've just got. Everyone bangs on about it, but we've just got an unbelievable recruitment team. We've still, if you look at it, we have lost Mane and we've lost Pella and Wanyama, but we've still kept a fairly, Romeo has stepped up unbelievably. He improved towards the end of last season, but he's filled the void perfectly. Højbjerg looks brilliant, so that's, Romeo's a bit more long-term recruitment. Højbjerg we would have been looking at, because they've got this mysterious black box that the club bang on about that keeps the tabs on players and managers and things like that. And supposedly I've read that Les Reed has always got 3 managers in the back of his mind, that we've done the scouting on, that should, say, Puel leave tomorrow, we've got someone to step in. That we can trust with the job.
It just seems to be such a well-run club at the moment, doesn't it? I mean, and West Ham, bless them, the fans are so unhappy with their owners at the minute. But where Southampton were when you dropped all the way down to League One, you never would predict that not only would they be in the Premier League, but also kind of a model for how a club should be run as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, you wouldn't have when we were down there, but I don't really like this comparison. I was saying to JJ earlier today, the whole we're Southampton, we've come from League One. I don't really like that spin on it, because before that we were in the top flight for I think 27 years, so we're an established name in terms of football clubs. And it's not like we're a Bournemouth that's properly risen from almost going out of extinction away from the media, and a proper grassroots rise with the same manager all the way. So it is good that we've come from there and we've come to here, but I don't like sort of leaning on that as a look at us. This tiny little team.
I think Southampton, a club with a great pedigree. It's just that the turnaround from League One days are remarkable to be, and not even ever a threat of relegation. We know Southampton are going to be up there, and every time you think, oh, maybe this is the season, they get found out. New manager in, never been in the Premier League. And then you go and do it all again as well. It's impressive. I can tell you, Barcelona have equalised in the other game in the Manchester City group. They are 1-1 away at Borussia Mönchengladbach now. We've touched on it very briefly. You've got Leicester away, though, on Sunday. It is obviously you're both playing in midweek. We touched on it briefly there, but now in a bit more depth. Leicester, what Leicester's going to turn up on Sunday? Do you have any idea?
I can't say. I think, obviously, the way Ranieri spoke after they went to Bruges and won was that, the music's woken them up and things like that. So it could be a case that, because it's such a sensational thing to be involved in, they know they've got the slimmest chance of winning retaining their title. So it may be that this season is just, let's go as far as we can in Europe, and that a home tie against Southampton's never going to have the same glamour as the first Champions League game at the King Power. So it's a tough one to call. I think we could be in for a result, but I don't know.
I can tell you there's been another equaliser as well in Europe for Dynamo Kiev, and Tishgankov has scored, and I have no idea. Go on, Tishgankov. No idea if that's how you say your name. So Tishgankov, Shigankov, I'm being told in my ear. Don't start saying that word. That could go terribly, terribly wrong. But that's happened. I mean, it's a tough one. We said about Leicester, they lost 4-1 to Manchester United, and then went and beat Porto. They lost to Liverpool 4-1. And then when it beat Club Brugge. I mean, it seems there's such a clear focus on the Champions League this season. They need to be careful, because if you take your eye off the Premier League too much and you're suddenly down there come January, February time, you can get sucked in, can't you?
I think that was always the danger with Leicester, though. I mean, I know last year they worked the magic and they won the Premier League against all odds, but that was always the danger. I mean, what do they do after that? They push on and try and retain it. I don't think they did the best sort of business in the summer. I know Slimani stepped up, but I think even themselves, they don't expect themselves to go on probably wouldn't finish the top 4.
No, yeah.
But I think for them, a top 10 finish and a good run in the Champions
Getting
League.
out the group.
Get out of the group. Go as far as you can go. I mean, Tottenham did it a few years ago, didn't they? When they finished in the top 4, and then went and had a lovely little Champions League run where they beat Inter Milan and all that. Why not? Leicester can do that. Why not?
And their style of play seems to be perfectly suited to the Champions League as well. Let's get a couple of predictions so we can embarrass you this time next week. West Ham, let's start with West Ham. Who? Middlesbrough. Who? Middlesbrough at home.
I went for a draw last week and we lost, so if I go for a win this week, we might draw. We could be desperate for the points. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 win West Ham.
2-0. 2-0 win West Ham. Yeah, because, you know, you've looked like keeping so many clean sheets recently. And Southampton Southampton are away at Leicester. I mean, that could go anyway, that game. What do you reckon?
Draw. I think we could nick... A draw isn't a bad shout, but I think we could nick a 2-1.
Nick a 2-1?
Yeah.
Charlie Austin back in the goals?
Obviously.
Right, well, what do you reckon?
4 clean sheets in a row and he's going to concede.
Yeah.
It's Leicester at home, isn't it? You know.
You got to...
Back your team.
Yeah, exactly. You're normally the most ardent...
You're the one hoping for a draw.
Chaps, always a pleasure to get my favourite bickering couple on the Lime Green sofa. Thank you for your fantasy football review and advice for the weekend coming up and your predictions as well. We'll let you know how you get on with all of that stuff next week, but good to have you guys back on from Snap Media.